Good day. This is Michael Bender from the Center for Fiscal Equity. Today we're going to be discussing improving family outcomes through home visiting. This is from a hearing on March 16th before the Worker and Family Support Subcommittee of Ways and Means. This program should be available to all families, whether they are in the system or not. When this Congress or the next adds a public option to the Affordable Care Act, this should be included. It should also be featured in any Medicare plan used by the disabled. If pre-existing condition protection is repealed, the end of private insurance is inevitable, turning the public option into a single-payer program eventually. If, on the other hand, we find single-payer through Medicare for all, this program is a must-have. So either way, this should be there for everybody. In short, home visits for expectant and new mothers should be included in all plans, including those where employers hire their own nursing staff if they want to opt out of any single-payer plan. When my daughter was born, we could have used this. While my wife and I could go to get services needed, if I had not been available, we may not have been able to go to the services rather than have them come to us. For lactation counseling, all the way to depression screening. Indeed, lactation consulting is best handled in the home, where a more intimate setting would be helpful, and more hands-on training to use the phrase, or lips-on training if you're the baby. Looking at the title alone, one could get the impression that it was talking about welfare visitation or housing inspection, which could be punitive in both cases. Even those visits should not be punitive, however. Paid remedial and job training should be available to one and two parent households with no qualifications process required. Anyone over 16 with less than an associate's degree or vocational certificate must be made eligible. Working toward literacy and seeking a decent level of education should be compensated at the minimum wage and not at the current level. The minority countered the fight for $15 an hour with a $10 counteroffer. The appropriate response should have been yes, but also immediately. This should transition eventually to a $12 per hour minimum wage. That gets us back to 1965 as far as buying power, or $11 with a 32-hour work week. And with a child tax credit increased to the level received by families at the minimum income, $1,000 per month is a good number. If you include a sufficient child care credit, you don't have to go to 15. You can go to 12 or a shorter day and have the same effect for families. A refundable child tax credit and minimum wage must both be indexed to inflation. The CTC should be included with other government benefits, from unemployment to paid education to Social Security. An adequate CTC would allow discontinuing orphan benefits and most child support arrangements, as well as SNAP for families. You would just have the one program. Working parents should receive their child tax credit through wages, the full amount, so it'd be refundable. This can be accomplished in one or two ways. Employers could deduct the CTC payments included with wages from their quarterly payments to the IRS, or even receive a rebate. An employer-paid subtraction VAT paid by all employers would take this scheme to the next level as far as more comprehensive tax reform. We believe that such reform is necessary to break the logjam on providing adequate support to all families. Our most recent tax reform proposals are included in the attachment. An adequate CTC and minimum wage are pro-life issues and must be scored as such. This is the best way to make these provisions bipartisan. Republican legislatures should be made very uncomfortable voting against this, and pro-life clergy should be made very uncomfortable for not insisting that these matters be put at the top of the anti-abortion agenda. As we said last week in another video, Such benefit improvements will put the free market for housing back into play for most families, although equal housing opportunity enforcement must be beefed up. Criminal penalties for violating fair housing rights should be enacted as well. Do these things, and the only home inspection required for any family would be the home nursing visits. Thank you for highlighting this worthy program, which again should be available to all households, especially as we consolidate towards some form of public option, Medicare for all, or other form of single-payer insurance. Thank you very much, and I will link to the tax reform provision videos as well. Thank you for your time.